Warlords of Erehwon is coming, and Warlords of Erehwon is my new fantasy war game, and it's based on the Antares game system using D10s. So I describe it as a warband style game. That's not strictly speaking a skirmish. It uses little units of figures, but it's not a battle game either, where the figures are all ranked up. It's, as I say, a warband game. The idea for Erehwon really came from the fact that I had a game system. So the Antares game system has been something I've been playing for years, and that's in turn the development of the bolt action system, as people will know. So the idea of using that to drive a fantasy war game was always there in my mind. One day, wouldn't it be great if? And I just started playing around with it and digging out some of my old collections, which go back years. I mean, I've got fantasy figures going back to the 1970s. So it was a fairly natural thing to do, and we just had some fun with it. Erehwon isn't really set in a world at all. I mean, Erehwon it's a kind of gloss for nowhere and everywhere. It's fantasy world, whether that's yours or whether it's a specific one, whether it refers to a book or a film or a piece of IP that you're particularly invested in. It doesn't matter. It can be anything. The army lists I put together as Forceless, warband lists really. I put together based on just the things that we had, those of us who wanted to play. And one or two of them are a little bit indulgent, like that. I've always had a thing about Halflings, that Halflings are cool. And Steve Morgan at Warlord's a big Halfling fan, so he said, you've got to put Halflings in, So I put Halflings in. I've been collecting the gnolls from the North Star range, and I put some gnolls in, for example. I've always had orcs and goblins. So I've got an orc warband and a goblin warband. Well, that's 4 already, so it wasn't terribly difficult to work on. And I always intended to do more, just to keep working until we've got enough to satisfy everyone who wanted to play. I think it works nicely. I've tried to write a book that's entertaining, as well as a practical set of rules. As I say, it's based on Antares. If you play Antares, you'll be very familiar with it. If you don't, then it'll perhaps be something a bit different and unusual, because Antares is it's a dice draw based system using D10s, which so it's not a D6 system and it's not an I go you go game, and that's it really. That's what I expect people to take from it, whatever they want.